So here we are again. Next episode, we're currently going through a heat wave here in Europe. That's why you are in a coffee shop, right, Sjimi? You're on the
Yes.
way to your girlfriend's office. I actually, because there's airco there, not at home. I made the opposite movement. I went to the office where there's no airco, but it's doable. Anyway, I have two things I want to discuss with you this week. The first one is actually something that we actually already discussed last week, I mean, between us, but I think it's interesting to get our view on it as well towards the rest of the world. And of course, we've been hiring, right? And we actually put out our normal vacancy like we always used to do. And in the hiring process, we started to realize that probably the vacancy is not exactly anymore what we need. And so my question for you would be like, what are we looking for then? What's different, for example, for a CTO?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. I see that as well for clients we're working at, where the typical, whether it's CTO, engineering manager, engineer position that you have, they probably are not the same anymore now than 12 months ago. So there's definitely changes. Like, look, if screen candidates nowadays and they don't even mention how they use AI, or they don't even mention which tools they use, which is for me already the bare minimum, it's a red flag. Look, you're not gonna, in this day and age, if you don't mention it, you're not
I'm going
gonna
to
get
challenge you
through.
on that because would you be putting I use PHP Storm or I use Word on your CV?
Probably not. Well, typically on engineers, you have like a tools section, but I understand your challenge, but it's so prevalent and it's so important, at least to know if engineers are using it or not engineers,
Yeah,
in
sure.
the technical roles in general, let's keep it in general, that you have to put it on there now, at least now. Maybe in 12 months, we're going to
For
take it
now.
for
Yeah,
granted,
yeah,
but at least now I
yeah.
want to see that differentiated, because we know that there's engineers who are very skeptical of it. So that's that. And then to answer your question, like, how does it change? Well, I think at least for the CTO role, what we feel at the moment is that hands-on, which was already very important for Madewithlove, but hands-on, knowing how to implement AI to improve operational processes, knowing how to push teams to using AI, knowing how organize teams, how to set up agents and all that. I think that is going to become a lot more important, at least in the kind of job that we do and the technical jobs that we do.
Mhm. Yeah, the problem I see there is that there's very few people with that experience. I was 2 weeks ago, I was at an event, and also I was like roundtables, and I was one of the panelists on a roundtable on recruitment. And there also someone was asking me like, what do I need to hire? Do I need to hire engineers anymore? Do I need to hire a CTO? And the guy had a CTO that was not programming. Like, I mean, we always said like our CTOs are not programming, but I think that's changing, right? And so I think it's and especially how do you find people with the experience? Because even us, like I mean, I'm trying to experiment with it every day. I'm setting up agents, I'm setting agentic pipelines for our project, but we're so early in this that it's hard to find people. Would you expect people to have the experience already, or do you see also there's some gray line where basically you think they will be able to do it, or how do you look at that?
I think having all the experience, it's impossible, right? If I look at myself, I think we were joking last week. I said like, oh, maybe I wouldn't hire myself at the moment for Madewithlove, which is a crazy thing to say if you think about it.
Step
But
up your game, Sjimi. Come
yeah,
on.
I need to step on my game. Come on, I need to. But I think the finding the experience is going to be hard. But I do think that it's going to be a lot about the soft skills as well. You want people that are experimenting. You want people that are hands-on. You want people that aren't scared of touching something new. You are like, I think that's the other thing that you need to look for. And
Yeah,
of
that's
course,
probably
slowly we will
also.
we will see the experience a little bit more and more. It will come, right? What you say you're doing all the time. We have CTOs here as well who experiment. So there is already a bit of that you can go
Mhm.
up on, I would say.
I think one of the things I see there is that in the past I was always preaching for be boring, right? Don't do lots of fancy stuff. And also like CTOs, I think basically there you want to choose established tools. While now, of course, that changed a bit and you need to really challenge yourself and your team all the time, making sure that you're using the right tools. But there also, I think it's important to keep in check with economics as well, because that's of course also a very big thing. Like I'm writing these agents for doing part of my work, but it's very costly to run them, right? So I think also there it's important that when you hire, for example, a CTO, that they also understand the economical side of outsourcing work to these kind of things. Cool.
It's you as an agent that fills in the Monday update, and it costs $10 every time.
Five,
five
five.
dollars. We need to make sure we keep that in check, right?
No, that's okay. Then something different, or else we went to a conference. Or we were invited because we invited only conference on Tuesday here in Brussels of the Radar, organized by Tanguy and a couple of other people. There actually something struck me, and I was discussing it with someone I know that was also in the conference, and it's something that annoys me already for a very long time. So basically, it was an invite-only, very hyped conference. They had like 4 times the people that wanted to join them that were invited. They haven't accepted more people than they could basically seat. And so it was promised that this is the conference of AI. They brought all the big vendors in. Anthropic was there, OpenAI was there, Cloudflare was there, Verso was there. All of them were present, right? And so you would think it was like 400 people, I believe.
Yeah.
And so they set up this stage. And basically, you would expect the people jumping on that stage in front of a room of CTOs and engineers and creators, right? Entrepreneurs, innovators, to be people that actually know what they're talking about. And it's a pattern I see already for a long time at conferences, that basically, instead of sending the people who actually know what they're talking about, they sent like marketing, dev relation people that have like a nice slide deck and on the surface know what this is about, but they have actually no clue what they're talking about. I went to talk with one of the speakers after their session. It was for me very clear that the thing that she gave a presentation on, when you dig a bit deeper in it, because I was using it, she had no clue. And that really annoys me, especially for a conference like that, where you would think the technical bar would be very high. I don't know what you think about it. You went to a conference in London also a couple of weeks ago.
I think I can definitely see the pattern. I do believe like when you have these big companies, they will send, obviously you want those names on your conference poster or whatsoever. There's no posters anymore, but you get what I mean. You want those big names. Well, typically they're not gonna send like their lead engineer, or you won't see that. They should. I
in
agree.
The past, it
They
was
should.
that case.
In the past, it was that case, but it's very hard to find those at the moment. So I do agree that those bigger companies, it was hard. It was more marketing, like it's branding, marketing, that kind of stuff. It's a pity, but there were obviously the person from DeepMind. He gave one of the most technical talks, and I think you missed it. But at the end, there was a panel conference with the CTOs of Colibra and Aikido, and I thought that was one of the best panel talks I've seen in a long time. It's a pity you missed it, but that was really good. But I understand your frustration. Yeah, these conferences, it's often.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
when our company exists actually yesterday for 18 years. When we started 18 years ago, a conference, that would be someone like someone at GitHub who was re-implementing Git would explain how they do it. Someone from Facebook that was dealing with large database migrations would be on stage to show how they do it. And these kind of things are things you don't see anymore. And that's, I think, a pity. Anyway, I was discussing this with someone because everyone had the same feeling, of course, especially on a conference like that where it was so high, to expect it to be a bit maybe of a higher level or more in depth. And basically their answer was, all these companies are either on the stock market or facing IPO. They're not going to send anyone who is not PR trained, because they might say the wrong things.
Fair enough.
Actually, it could be the answer. I don't know. But for me, it's annoying. Yeah.
I think maybe one more thing I wanted to add is, obviously we are very technical, and yes, there's a lot of great leaders, but not a lot of people were maybe that technical there. I think a good example was, I think it was Anthropic who was asking about who's using managed agents, right? Or who knows about managed agents.
4 people
like,
out of
4 or 6
450.
people.
Yeah.
Of course, Andreas was one of it. I think you have 10 managed agents running. But I think that still shows like people know about it, but who's actually using it? And I think that in a way we're still at the frontier in this area. And I think that's good. Like we should be testing, like we're
that was for me
every
interesting.
feature, right?
I told people like they were asking like, how do you like it? For me, it was like, it's like a reality check. Like where are we in the curve? And for me, from the audience, from what I understood, we're pretty at the front side of the curve, which is of course where we want to be as a company. Anyway, thank you. I think it was a good conversation. If you like what we're saying, you can always ask us to talk about something. Just send us an email, hello@madewithlove.com. And of course, if you like what we're saying, also subscribe on the whatever channel you like to be subscribed on. See you next time.
Exactly. Cheers. Bye-bye.